So to begin, this is the setup of the game. Everyone is going to start in these 3 territories: Chelsea, the city, and East End. And you're going to put one of your characters there. These are the trouble markings that are going to be set in those areas as well, which I'll explain in a little bit. These are event cards. These are the cards you're going to be putting into your hand. These are all the city cards, where you can build one of your city buildings here, or one of your buildings, to put it on one of these areas to gain that ability. And then everyone starts with these pawns. And depending on what card you get, your personality card will tell you how you need to play this game. And so I will start out. So there are these basic cards that you will shuffle, everyone will deal out to each other. And I'll kind of explain some to you. So with this card, you're going to want to, at the beginning of your turn, which most of these cards, you will win the game if it's at the beginning of your turn and you achieved what it says. But this one is you have a certain number of areas that you have your pawns or your miniatures in that many areas, depending on the player count. This one is that you have 8 or more trouble markers on the board. This one, and this one, and this one, these 3 are area control. So you are control of so many areas on the board, depending on the number of players as well. This one you have to play with 3 players or more, but you have to have a combined worth of 50 or more with counting your buildings and your money and everything. And then Sherlock Holmes is, you want to exhaust this deck, and if no one wins by the time this runs out, then you win. And so those are the main characters that you might want to do. And to win, you're going to do what it says below. So the main thing for this game as well is to figure out who everyone else is and to stop them so they can't achieve what they're trying to do, and to progress yours to do what you want to do. And that's the game, is that right there. Now, this game also has all these variant cards, which will make the game a little bit different. Some are the same characters, just the changing of some of the goals that you might want. And so once you've played the game and understand it, you can put these into the mix, and it'll make it more variable as well. You're going to start with one of these. No one knows who it is. And on your turn, you will have 5 cards. So here's my 5 cards. You will play one of the cards during your turn. The next player will play one, and you'll just go around, and that's how you play the game. Now, on these cards, you'll see certain symbols, and you'll have to do the symbols as they say from top to bottom. And let's go over some of these symbols here. So if it has this symbol, that means you need to place a minion. When you place a minion, you can place one where you are at already, or one adjacent to where you're at. So I could put it here, I'm here, I could put it here. This is adjacent. When we cross the river here, you need to look and see there if there's a bridge to know if it's adjacent or not. Here's adjacent, but right here is not adjacent to this one. So you just got to look at the board and figure it out. So you will place a new minion, and every time you will check your trouble markers. And I'll explain, why that's important, but well, you might know because someone might want to get 8 of these on the board. So you always want to check, because you never know who has who. So you never really want 8 trouble markers to be on the board ever, unless you have that character, then you are going to want to. But if someone else later placed one of their minions in a place where there already was a minion, then a trouble marker will be placed out. If someone ever removes a minion from a place that already has, people in it, then the trouble marker will come off. And so that's how you can manipulate the board to add these trouble markers or to take them away. Now, it would work the same way if you were in the same one and you added your own minion. A trouble marker is still going to come on. So when playing, just be aware of that, because that will change up things too. All right, so this one is you get to place a building. And so you will look at wherever you want to place a building. Let's say we're going to place it here. You're going to pay the cost, which is 18. So you will pay your money into the bank, and you will come over here and you will take the card of wherever that place is. That card, let's see, is this the card? Yes. The card is going to give you a benefit, and it would be good to know what these benefits are, kind of read over them before you play, because these can help you achieve your personality goals on the personality card. So this one says, whenever one of your pieces is affected by a random event, you may pay 3 money to ignore it. So this one's going to help you kind of be more stable so that these event cards don't, mess you up. But wherever you're going to build, and some of them are more beneficial to some characters than others, you're going to pay the money and place one of your buildings on top, and I placed all these kind of to the side. Again, this is all prototype, and so it might be a little bit different when it is a production copy, but man, these buildings are just beautiful, very detailed. All right, so the next one is this assassination. So remove one minion, not yours, from a place. So that would be like, if you move this one out, especially if it had a trouble marker, that is one way to get rid of those trouble markers, is by taking someone's minion off the board. This next one is take money. Whatever the number it says, you will come to the bank, take that much, and you will need to collect money to do certain things. This one is an interrupt card. This is the only card you would play that's not during your turn. And if someone wanted to, say, assassinate one of your minions or do whatever they might be doing from what their card says, you can use this card and they can't do it anymore. All right, this random event card is the only one of these actions that's not optional. Every single other one you don't have to do. You can decide if you want to do it or not. And remember, you're always going from top to bottom from order. This random event, you're going to come over to the event deck, you're going to flip the card over, and you're going to do what it says. So this one's martial law. So you're going to roll the die 4 times and place one of your grandier pawns in each of those areas rolled. And so those are these. These act as other pawns on the board. And so they compete with, say, like area control, or they change the trouble tokens. They just kind of mess things up a little more. And so this card is going to add those onto the board. Let's see, another example is this one. This says fire. So roll the die and see where it starts. Then you continue rolling to see if it spreads. And there's special rules for that card. So there's different events that'll kind of change things up a little bit and mess people up. All right, this one is play another card. And so if you played a card that has this, you'd finish playing that card and you would be able to play another card. So really you could combo with the cards that have this and play more than one card during your turn, which is smart because you get more actions. This scroll icon, it pretty much says that you're going to do what it says on the bottom. So you're going to go to the text on the bottom and do what it says. There's a lot of cards that has this, and that's what makes the game kind of interesting, because all these cards will help you do some different things. Some of them might let you draw more cards. Some of them might make you, have a little take that mechanism and mess someone else up, but you're just going to do whatever it says on the card. And this last one is remove a trouble marker. So you're going to be able to go where you want, pick a trouble marker, and to remove it from the board. During the game, it's important to keep track of adding the minions and the trouble markers. I found that was the hardest thing, of remembering when to add it and when to take it off and everything like that. So if it doesn't have one on there and someone adds one on, then you will add a trouble marker. If at any time someone takes one off for whatever reason, then the trouble marker, if it has one, will come off. So not necessarily just because there's 2 people at the location means there's a trouble marker, because look, we took that trouble marker off, yet there are 2 people here in that location. But you know, the game will get manipulated in different ways. Just keep track of that. And remember, the game has a timer, so you know, when these cards run out, you are going to want to be able to be in a good position to win, or else someone might be Sherlock Holmes, who is just pretty much trying to block everyone so no one can win and finish the deck off, and then they will win. The cards have 2 separate piles, and so you will go through like the beginner cards and then the second half cards that'll mess things up or do certain things. And so the deck is kind of organized in that way to speed things up. If it's not, you know, already done in the first half, then it's gonna change things up a little bit in the second half. So the game ends when pretty much it goes to someone's turn, and it's the beginning of their turn, and they can announce that, you know, they have won, and they will show their card, and you will look at the board and see if they have whatever it says on there. Some area control, minions on the board, net worth, you know, trouble markers, whatever their thing might be, and then they will win the game. So the most important thing to know about playing this game is that it is extremely important, and I've said this already, but extremely important to know what all the objectives are, or possible objectives for all the players, because you don't want to just gift the game to someone. Say someone's trying to get 8 of these trouble markers on the board, and you know, you decide that you're going to add one of your minions on, which adds a trouble marker, and then it comes to their turn and they win. So I would know what all the things are. You know, you don't ever want 8 trouble markers on the board unless you have that character. You know, you are going to want to keep an eye out on that. If you see someone that has a lot of area control, you know, you want to keep an eye out on that, on everyone. You might be able to see someone going towards one thing or the other, but you always want to keep an eye out on all those things. If someone's just trying to put all their minions on the board, you know, you need to try to take some of all those off. And you know, if they're spreading thin, they might have that card. And so the most important thing is understanding how people can win, and understanding how you can win, and not giving off exactly who you are or what you're trying to achieve at the beginning of the game, because then it'll make it easier for others to defend that and maybe hide what they're doing, and then maybe they will actually be doing something else and trick you, and then they would win the game. Now again, this is a re-implementation of DISCWORLD. If you've played that game, it keeps a lot of the same mechanics in the game. I have not played DISCWORLD, so I don't know for sure exactly the differences or anything, but this game is great. It's pretty simple to really understand it, but it's really hard to really know how to master it, just because you don't want to give off who you are, and you are trying to hide it, and you need to defend against others. You know, it takes some skill to be able to figure out the game, to play it how you should, to be able to win. But it is a re-implementation, and it's supposed to keep the mechanics pretty simple, but the theme is changed. And I just love the London theme that has these real characters from London in them, when the minis. They did a great job. Again, this is Nanty Narking from Phalanx Games. If you like what you see, then go back it.